Ah, sugar. It's the villain of the health and fitness industry. We probably have all seen videos like this showing you how much sugar is in the foods that you eat. Regardless of where you get your sugar in your diet, it's all bad, right? Or is it? Sugar always seems to be getting demonized, and I think a certain amount of criticism is justified. I want to dive into the research and try to clear some of this up, so we can make more informed food choices. Hey everyone, welcome to Science-Based Fitness. My name is Adam. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video is all about sugar and if it's bad for you. Now I want to break this down into 3 simple questions I'm going to try to target and answer. The first one is, what is a carbohydrate? What's the difference between carbohydrates, sugars? I'm going to break that down so you can understand that a little bit more clearly. From there, we're going to look at some pros and cons to consuming sugar, not consuming sugar. From there, third and finally, we're going to look at better ways to consume sugar. So let's get right into this. When you hear the word carbohydrate, it strikes fear into some people. But what is a carbohydrate? Carbohydrates are essentially sugar molecules, also known as saccharides. There are different types of saccharides, all the way from monosaccharides to polysaccharides. And to put this into layman's terms, monosaccharides are simple sugars, and polysaccharides are complex sugars. Those simple sugars can be used rather quickly for energy, while those complex sugars, or complex carbohydrates, are used at a slower rate, which can lead to more sustained energy over longer periods of time. Alright, so what are a few examples of complex and simple carbohydrates? A simple carbohydrate would be something like this: baked goods like cookies, sugary drinks in sodas, pastas, or white bread. While complex carbs are more like beans, oatmeal, starchy vegetables like potatoes, and 100% whole wheat breads. Starches and fibers are actually complex carbohydrates. As a personal trainer for the last 10 years or so, I've seen a lot of people struggle with trying to lose weight. Cutting carbs is such a common way to attack this. Let's get into the pros and cons. First, I want to break down some of the cons here. Now, most of us know that sugar can rot your teeth, creating cavities. This is pretty common knowledge. But beyond that, sugary foods can add to acne. This was always considered a wise tale, and more likely there will need to be more research on this topic before it's conclusive. But in 2020, a study from France that used over 24,000 participants was able to find there was a significant association between current acne and the consumption of fatty and sugary products, sugary beverages, and milk. Too much sugar can also inhibit leptin response. This has to do with the production of insulin. Leptin is a hormone that aids in energy balance and inhibits hunger. This can be triggered by an overconsumption of sugar, which is known as leptin resistance, which can lead to obesity and other metabolic disorders. Overconsumption of sugar is also linked to being overweight or obese. The typical American consumes 300% more than the daily recommended values of added sugar, according to a 2019 review that looked at the link with overconsuming sugars and obesity in the United States. They were able to conclude the following: a positive correlation between sugar consumption and obesity is only apparent when sugar is overconsumed. So essentially, that study was able to say that consuming sugar doesn't necessarily make you overweight or obese, but overconsuming sugar is a good predictor of being obese and overweight. I feel like it gets depressing just simply harping on all the problems with consuming too much sugar. And I understand that simply pointing out flaws doesn't make it easier for you to navigate how difficult nutrition and dieting can be. So we're gonna jump right into the cons, but I do wanna say if you're getting value out of this video, click that like button. It'll help this video get recommended to more people who can help learn more and more about better ways to manage sugar consumption. All right, so some of the pros to eating sugar. Sugar provides energy. When individuals are trying to perform at their maximum capacity, carbohydrates are a critical fuel source. A study sourced in my description looked at carbohydrates in physical performance and found when exercising at moderate or high intensity, carbohydrates are the main energy substrate, and glycogen depletion is a major limiting factor of performance. Complex carbohydrates provide better sustained energy and have less of a crash than simple carbohydrates. Fiber is considered a carbohydrate, and fiber can help regulate peaks and valleys in energy levels. Fiber has digestion benefits and can help with regular bowel movements, and also has been shown to lower cholesterol. So it's not all bad, and I want to provide now a few ways you can improve the way you consume your sugars throughout the day. Using these 3 tips can help you become more aware of where your sugars come from throughout your day. Simply adapting these strategies over a longer period of time start to become second nature and will be better habits to adapt to. More complex carbohydrates. Eating more complex carbs is a great starting point. That's going to be things like beans, oatmeal, sweet potatoes, brown rice, starchy vegetables, and 100% whole wheat breads. And a quick Google search will reveal some more. Eat more whole foods and less processed foods. We don't need to be afraid of fruits due to the fiber content. I did just say more complex carbohydrates, but when it comes to fruits, that's something that has a greater amount of fiber content. So an easy way to think about this is if it's a whole food, which means not processed, we want to try to avoid these processed foods because those types of sugars are all added sugars. When we look at a medium banana, for example, there's 27 grams of carbohydrates, but there's more than 3 grams of fiber, which can slow the digestion and absorption of those carbohydrates. Try to limit sugary drinks. It's easy to say, don't drink soda. Beyond that point, when we look at juices like apple juice or orange juice, the process of breaking down the fruit degrades the fiber content, which we know how important fiber is. This process can increase the absorption rate and end up spiking the sugar levels just as if you were drinking a soda. So my final thoughts here is that sugar isn't necessarily evil, although I do want to say, over-consuming anything can be problematic. And I feel sugar is the most well-accepted thing to overconsume. No one's gonna bat an eye at someone drinking a cup of orange juice or a bottle of soda. I grew up in a house that we constantly drank soda, and when I moved out, it was really hard to break that trend. I didn't even realize how addicting it can be. But I think it's really important to remember, in the study I mentioned earlier, they stated this: sugar is necessary for a healthy life, and the consumption trend is going in the right direction. I think this is due to a lot more informed consumers. They've changed a few things with the food labels to make it easier and more clear for individuals to read what they're eating. Being aware of what you're eating and how much you're consuming is such an important step to really living a healthy lifestyle. And following those 3 tips that I mentioned earlier on ways to become a better consumer of sugars and carbohydrates is a great starting point if you're struggling with this. And beyond that point, you might want to talk to a dietitian or a nutritionist, someone that can give you some really straightforward answers, more specific to your personal needs. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. If you got value out of it, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for more content, drop a comment below if you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions on other videos you want me to make, just let me know in the comments below. We'll see you guys. Have a good day.